Have you ever poured your heart into a moment, hoping someone would see you for who you are, only to watch them walk away? That's where Mark Thompson found himself, rolling into the Stardust Diner under buzzing neon lights that lit up the night. The diner glowed with sharp white lighting, no warm golden hues, just clear beams bouncing off chrome counters and star-shaped salt shakers. Galaxy murals swirled across the walls and ceiling, painted with planets and nebulae, making the place feel like a spaceship docked in the city. The jukebox hummed a cheerful pop tune, blending with the chatter of families and the clink of plates. Mark, 40, with short brown hair, wore a casual button-up shirt, sleeves rolled up to his elbows. His custom wheelchair, its glowing blue rims a design he'd crafted himself, moved smoothly to a booth near a mural of a rocket blasting off. 4 years ago, a car accident had changed everything, leaving him paralyzed and carrying the weight of surviving when his friend didn't. Tonight, his sister had set up a blind date with Emily, promising she was kind, someone who'd see him, not just the chair. Mark wanted to believe her, but nerves churned in his gut. He was a billionaire CEO, his tech company creating tools for people like him, but no app could block the fear of rejection. He locked his wheelchair's brakes, the blue rims casting a soft glow on the checkered floor. His phone showed 6:50 p.m. Emily was due soon. The diner smelled of grilled burgers and fresh coffee, familiar but not enough to ease his tension. He smoothed his shirt, scanning the menu, meteor melt, burgers, black hole blast milkshakes. A waitress hurried by with glowing blue sodas, some sci-fi special. Mark ordered a water, his voice calm despite his racing heart. He loved tinkering with old radios, a hobby that grounded him, fixing wires like puzzles. Maybe he'd tell Emily about that, or his stargazing app that mapped constellations. The door chimed, but it was just a couple. Then again at 7:03, still not her. He checked emails on his phone, updates on his accessibility app for wheelchair-friendly routes. His sister texted, "She's running late, hang in there." Mark replied with a quick okay, his fingers hovering. He'd built his company from nothing, designed his chair, lightweight, powered, those blue rims for night visibility. But would Emily see that? At 7:15, the door chimed, and Emily appeared. In her 30s, her long blonde curls caught the neon glow, sharp eyeliner framing her eyes. Her elegant dress flowed as she walked, a bright yellow scarf draped over her arm. She scanned the room, phone in hand, then spotted Mark's wave. "Mark?" she said, her heels clicking as she approached. "Hi, I'm Emily." She slid into the booth, setting her purse down, the scarf slipping slightly. "Traffic was a mess," she said, her smile polite but quick. "No problem," Mark said, offering a grin. "This place is cool, right? Like dining in a sci-fi flick." Emily glanced at the murals, nodding. "It's unique. I usually stick to cafes." Her eyes flicked to his wheelchair, then away, fast but noticeable. Mark's stomach tightened, but he pushed on. "My sister said you're in marketing? What kind?" Emily stirred her water. "Fashion brands. Social media, campaigns. Keeps me moving." Her tone was proud, but her gaze wandered, to the menu, the counter. They ordered, she chose a salad, he a burger. The jukebox shifted to a softer song, mixing with the diner's hum. Mark tried to connect. "I run a tech company, mostly remote now. Leaves time for hobbies, like fixing old radios. You into anything like that?" Emily's smile was tight. "Not really. I'm into active stuff, hiking, yoga, weekend trips." Her words hit hard, though her voice stayed light. Mark gripped his wheelchair's rim, the blue glow steady. "I used to hike," he said, keeping it casual. "Now I build stuff like apps for stargazing." She didn't respond, her eyes flicking to his chair again. Then she leaned forward, her scarf brushing the table. "Mark, I'm going to be straight," she said, her voice low but firm. "My friend didn't mention this." She gestured toward his wheelchair, avoiding his eyes. "I don't think I can handle it. I need someone who can keep up with me, you know?" The words cut deep, sharp as the diner's white lights. Mark's chest burned with humiliation, his throat tight. "It's just how I move," he said, voice low. "I'm still me." Emily stood, grabbing her purse, her salad untouched. "I'm sorry, it's not what I signed up for." She hesitated, then added, "You seem nice, really." Her heels clicked as she walked away, the door chiming as she left. The diner kept going, kids laughing, plates clinking, but Mark felt frozen, the rejection sinking in like a stone. The galaxy mural above seemed to mock him, stars out of reach. His burger sat cold, the neon reflecting off his water glass. As he stared at the empty booth, a shadow fell over the table. Lena, a waitress with purple-streaked blonde hair tied back, stood there, her uniform, white shirt, red waistcoat, black pants, crisp despite the long shift. Her name tag glinted under the lights. She'd seen the whole thing from across the room, her warm eyes catching the slump in Mark's shoulders. "That was rough," she said softly, setting down a fresh coffee unasked. "You okay?" Mark looked up, surprised by her kindness. "Not really," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Lena slid into the booth across from him, just for a moment, her hands resting on the table. "Listen, I see a lot of people come through here. She didn't give you a chance, and that's on her. You're worth more than a quick judgment." Her words were simple, but they hit like a lifeline, easing the sting. Mark managed a small smile. "Thanks. I'm Mark." She tapped her name tag, a spark in her eye. "Lena. And I mean it, you deserve someone who sees you, not just the chair." She paused, glancing at the mural. "My daughter, Zara, would love those glowing rims. She's 12, all about sci-fi stuff." Mark's smile grew, the weight in his chest lifting slightly. "I build stuff like that. Got a dancing robot toy she might like." Lena's face brightened. "You're kidding. She'd go nuts for that." They talked for a minute, Lena sharing how Zara dreamed of being an astronaut, Mark mentioning his love for fixing radios. The diner's hum faded into the background, the neon lights feeling warmer. Lena got called to another table, but before she left, she said, "Stick around, Mark. This place has a way of surprising you." He nodded, sipping the coffee, hot, not cold. The rejection still stung, but Lena's words planted a seed of hope. He paid the bill, tipping generously, and wheeled out into the parking lot, the neon sign buzzing above. At home, his cozy apartment welcomed him, voice-activated lights, a desk built for his chair, shelves of old radios. He didn't call his sister, didn't want to relive the night. Instead, he tinkered with a radio, the static turning to music, calming his mind. Work waited. His team was launching an accessibility app, but tonight, he let himself feel the hurt and the hope. Lena's kindness lingered, a small light in the dark. The next few days, Mark threw himself into work, leading meetings, coding new features. His app was gaining buzz, helping people like him navigate the world. But the diner pulled him back. He returned one evening, taking his usual booth, the murals as vibrant as ever. Lena served him, her smile familiar now. "Back for more coffee?" she teased. "Only if it's hot," he shot back. They laughed, the sound blending with the jukebox. The Stardust Diner glowed under its buzzing neon lights, the sharp white lighting casting a bright sheen over the galaxy murals that swirled across the walls and ceiling. Mark Thompson wheeled into his usual booth, the glowing blue rims of his custom wheelchair humming softly on the checkered floor. Emily's rejection from the blind date still stung, but Lena's kind words that night had planted a seed of hope. The diner's energy, families laughing, plates clinking, the jukebox humming a soft pop tune, felt like a safe place to breathe again. Mark, 40, with short brown hair and a casual button-up shirt, adjusted his position, his fingers brushing the rims he'd designed himself. He wasn't sure why he kept coming back, but asking for Lena's section felt right. Lena, 34, moved through the crowded diner, her waitress uniform, white shirt, red waistcoat, black pants, name tag pinned neatly, crisp despite the long shift. Her blonde hair, streaked with purple, was pulled into a loose ponytail, a few strands framing her face. She'd seen Mark's pain after Emily walked out, and her instinct to lift him up came from years of raising her daughter, Zara, alone. Spotting Mark in her section, she grabbed a fresh coffee pot and headed over, her sneakers quiet on the floor. "Back already?" she teased, pouring him a steaming cup. Those fries must be calling your name. Mark grinned, the weight in his chest easing. It's the coffee. Can't resist a hot cup. Lena set the pot down, leaning against the booth. Good taste. You holding up after, the other night? Her voice was gentle, no pity, just care. Mark nodded, his smile fading a bit. Better, thanks to you. What you said, it meant a lot. Lena shrugged, her eyes warm. I've seen too many dates in this place. Some people miss out on the good ones. She tucked a stray napkin under a star-shaped salt shaker. You're one of the good ones, Mark. His heart lifted, the rejection sting softening. I'm Mark, he said, though she'd seen his name on the bill. She tapped her name tag, a playful spark in her eye. Lena. Single mom, long hours. You learn to spot the real people. Mark tilted his head. You've got a kid? Lena's face brightened, the way it always did for Zara. Yeah, Zarvov. Loves sci-fi comics, dreams of being an astronaut. Keeps me on my toes. Mark's eyes lit up. That's awesome. I build stuff, got a dancing robot toy. Bet she'd like it. Lena's jaw dropped slightly. You make robots? Zara would go crazy. She's always sketching space heroes with robot buddies. They fell into easy talk, the diner's noise fading. Lena shared how Zara's latest comic featured a robot pilot on Mars, and Mark told her about fixing old radios, how it calmed him to turn static into music. It's like giving them a second chance, he said, his voice quiet, hinting at deeper meaning. Lena nodded, understanding. Zara's asthma keeps us up some nights. Hospital bills pile up. I'm saving for a steampunk cafe, gears, brass, the works. Sounds silly, maybe. Not silly at all, Mark said. I'd visit a place like that. Lena smiled, called to another table, but her warmth lingered. Mark sipped his coffee, the diner's hum wrapping around him like a blanket. The galaxy murals seemed to pulse, stars within reach. He came back the next evening, rolling into Lena's section again. The neon lights glowed, the jukebox playing a new tune. Lena, on her break, slid into the booth across from him, her uniform swapped for jeans and a cozy sweater. You're gonna wear out that chair, she said, sipping water. Mark chuckled. Built it to last. Like your coffee, always hot. They laughed, the sound blending with the diner's buzz. Their talks grew into a routine. Mark returned night after night, the stardust becoming his anchor. One evening, as the diner's crowd thinned, Lena brought over a plate of fries to share. On the house, she said, sitting across from him. They talked about Zara's dream to design comics for NASA, her sketches full of rockets and aliens. She's got big plans, Lena said, her voice proud but tired. Mark nodded. She sounds like you, determined. Lena blushed, brushing it off. Maybe. But those bills. Zara's asthma treatments aren't cheap. Mark listened, his heart aching for her struggle. You're doing a lot, he said. That's strength. Lena looked at him, her guard softening. You get it? Most guys don't. Mark shrugged, his fingers tracing his wheelchair's rim. I know what it's like to fight for something. He told her about his tech company, how he'd built it from nothing after the accident, how it gave him purpose. Lena leaned forward, her eyes steady. You don't let anything stop you, do you? Mark smiled faintly. Trying not to. They both laughed when Lena admitted she hated cold coffee as much as he did. It's like drinking sadness, she said, wrinkling her nose. Warm or nothing, Mark agreed. One night, Lena showed him a photo on her phone, Zara in a sci-fi graphic tee, holding a sketch of a spaceship with a robot co-pilot. This is her, Lena said, pride in her voice. Mark studied the picture, leaning closer. She's got your fire. That's special. Lena's smile softened. You're not so bad yourself, Mark. Most people don't care about a kid's drawings. He shrugged. They're missing out. The diner's neon buzzed outside, the galaxy murals glowing above. Lena shared more about her steampunk cafe dream, brass gears, vintage lamps, a place where Zara could draw. It's a long shot, she said, but it's what keeps me going. Mark nodded. Long shots are my thing. You'll make it happen. Another evening, Mark arrived early, the diner just opening. Lena was wiping down tables, the neon lights flickering on. "Early bird today," she said, grinning as she brought him coffee. Mark held up a small gadget, a prototype of his dancing robot toy. "Thought Zara might like to see this," he said, pressing a button. The robot spun, its tiny arms wobbling. Lena laughed, clapping her hands. She'd lose her mind. "You're gonna have to meet her soon." Mark's heart skipped, the idea of meeting Zara feeling big real. "I'd like that," he said, his voice soft. They started meeting outside the diner too. One afternoon, Lena invited Mark to a nearby park, a quiet spot with benches and a small pond. She wore jeans and a sweater, her hair loose, and pushed Zara's old bike beside her. Mark wheeled alongside, the blue rims glowing in the fading daylight. They talked about little things: Zara's love for space documentaries, Mark's habit of coding late at night. Lena admitted she sometimes felt alone, juggling work and motherhood. "It's hard, but Zara's worth it," she said, staring at the pond. Mark nodded. "You're not alone anymore," he said, surprising himself. Lena looked at him, her eyes soft. "You mean that?" He nodded, and they sat in comfortable silence, the park's calm wrapping around them. Back at the diner a few nights later, Lena showed him one of Zara's comics, left behind on a booth. The pages were filled with colorful sketches, a robot hero, a starry sky. "She'd love to show you herself," Lena said, her voice warm. Mark traced the drawings with a finger. "She's got talent. Maybe I'll bring that robot toy next time." Lena smiled, but her eyes were tired. "Another hospital bill came in," she said quietly. "Zara's asthma flared up last week." Mark's chest tightened. "You're carrying a lot," he said. Lena shrugged. "You do what you have to." One night, after closing, Lena walked Mark to the parking lot, the neon sign casting pink and blue light over her van. "You keep coming back," she said, leaning against the van. "Why?" Mark paused, his hands on his rims. "This place, it feels like a fresh start." Lena's eyes met his, steady and warm. "But you deserve that." She hesitated, then added, "Zara keeps asking about the robot guy. You're making an impression." Mark laughed, the sound light in the cool air. "She's making one on me too." As he wheeled to his car, the neon lights fading behind him, Mark felt something new, connection, not just to Lena but to the life she and Zara lived. The diner's glow, the murals, the hum of their talks, it all made the world feel bigger, brighter. He thought about his company, his radios, but mostly about Lena's strength and Zara's dreams. He didn't know where this was going, but he wanted to find out, one hot coffee at a time. For weeks, he'd been coming back, always to Lena's section, their conversations growing deeper, more real. The galaxy murals, the jukebox's hum, and Lena's warm smile had turned the diner into a haven. But tonight, as he thought about Lena's tired voice mentioning another hospital bill for Zara's asthma, a quiet resolve settled in him. He wanted to help, not to take over, but to give them a chance to breathe easier. Back at his cozy apartment, surrounded by shelves of old radios and tech sketches, Mark made a call. He arranged to anonymously pay off Lena's medical debt for Zara's asthma treatments, every dollar cleared with no trace back to him. He also donated a 3D printer to Zara's school art club, including a note for future astronauts, no name attached. He didn't want thanks, he just wanted Lena and Zara to have room for their dreams. A few days later, he rolled back into the diner, settling into his usual booth near the rocket mural. Lena greeted him, her jeans and sweater a change from her waitress uniform, her purple-streaked blonde hair loose. "You're here so much, we might give you a name tag," she teased, setting down a hot coffee. Mark grinned, stirring the coffee. "Only if it says Coffee Guy." They laughed, the jukebox playing a soft tune. They talked about Zara's latest comic, a robot explorer on a moon base, and Mark showed Lena a video of his dancing robot toy, its wobbly moves making her chuckle. "Zara would go nuts for that," she said, her eyes bright. But as she cleared a nearby table, she paused, her voice casual but curious. "Something weird happened. Hospital called, Zara's bills are paid. All of them." Mark kept his face neutral, sipping his coffee. "That's great," he said, his heart pounding. Lena's eyes lingered on him, but she didn't push, moving on to another customer. A week later, Lena caught him outside in the neon-lit parking lot, her old van parked nearby, its chipped paint glowing under the diner's sign. She crossed her arms, her hair catching the light. "Mark, was it you? The bills?" "The 3D printer at Zara's school." Her voice was sharp but soft, a mix of hurt and gratitude. Mark's hands stilled on his wheelchair's rims. "How'd you know?" he asked quietly. Lena stepped closer. "I'm not clueless. Anonymous doesn't hide you. Why didn't you tell me?" Her eyes searched his, wanting the truth. Mark looked down at the glowing blue rims, his voice low. "I didn't want you to feel like you owed me. You and Zara, you deserve a break, no strings." Lena's expression softened, but she shook her head. "You can't do stuff like that and keep it secret. We're supposed to be real with each other." Mark met her gaze, guilt tugging at him. "You're right. I'm sorry. No more hiding." Lena exhaled, a small smile breaking through. "But we're equals, Mark. No fixing my life behind my back." They stood under the neon sign, the cool air heavy with honesty, a new trust forming. Their bond deepened after that. One evening, Mark met Zara at the diner. She slid into the booth, her short curly hair bouncing, wearing a sci-fi graphic tee with a rocket design. "You're the robot guy," she said, eyes wide as Mark showed her his dancing robot toy. It spun and wobbled, making her laugh. They spent hours designing a wobbly robot together, Zara sketching gears while Mark suggested motors. "It needs a laser," Zara said, her pencil flying. Mark grinned. "Lasers it is." Lena watched from the counter, her smile soft with pride, her sweater sleeves rolled up as she wiped down the counter. But trouble came soon after. Lena's ex, a slick lawyer in a cheap suit, showed up at the diner one night, his voice smooth and manipulative. He demanded custody of Zara, claiming he wanted to provide a better life, but Lena saw through it. He wanted control, maybe to look good for his own gain. She stood her ground, her voice firm, but later, in the neon-lit parking lot, she leaned against her van, her hands shaking. "I'm scared, Mark," she whispered. "Zara's my whole world. What if he takes her?" Mark reached for her hand, his grip steady. "You're not alone. We'll fight this together." He paused, then opened up. "After the accident, I felt like I shouldn't be here. My friend didn't make it, and I did. But you and Zara, you give me a reason to keep going." Lena squeezed his hand, her eyes glistening. "You do that for us too." They stood there, the neon sign buzzing above, their connection stronger than ever. The next challenge came fast. Lena's van was breaking down, barely starting some mornings. They went to a used car lot together, picking out a reliable blue sedan, Zara's favorite color, like her comic panels. They split the cost, honoring Lena's need for independence. "No way I'm letting you pay for it all," she said, half laughing, half serious. Mark nodded. "Deal. Equals." When the custody hearing arrived, Mark wheeled into the courtroom beside Lena. She faced the judge, her voice clear and strong, exposing her ex's selfish motives. Zara's drawings were on the table, proof of the life Lena built for her. The judge ruled in Lena's favor, and Zara ran to her mom, hugging her tight. Mark watched, his heart full, knowing he'd found something worth standing for, or wheeling for. Weeks later, they were back at the Stardust Diner, the neon lights humming, the galaxy murals stretching overhead. Zara sat between them, her sci-fi tee wrinkled from excitement as she showed off her new comic, a robot explorer saving a planet from a meteor storm. "Look, it's got lasers," she said, pointing to her sketch. The manager, grinning, slid a cosmic special meal onto the table, burgers, fries, and glowing blue sodas, free of charge. "You three make this place shine," he said, walking off. Lena reached for Mark's hand under the table, her fingers warm and sure. "We're in this together, right?" she asked, her voice steady. Mark nodded, his thumb brushing hers. "Equals. Always." Zara looked up, her comic open. "Can the robot fly in the next one?" she asked, eyes sparkling. Mark laughed, the sound mixing with the jukebox's melody. "Kid, we'll make it soar to the stars." under the diner's neon-lit murals. With Lena's hand in his and Zara's laughter filling the air, Mark felt a family taking shape, built on trust, strength, and shared dreams. The stars above the booth felt close enough to touch, and for the first time in years, the world felt wide open. That was today's story. If it moved you, hit that like button, share it with a friend who appreciates a powerful twist, and subscribe for more cinematic tales that linger long after the screen fades. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from.